Hello, everybody. Welcome to Little Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel and drop a like. We are trying to hit 25,000 subscribers, so it would be much appreciated. In case you were wondering, no, I am not wearing a shirt advertising real law. I am wearing a Better Call Saul shirt for the record, just in case you thought I was advertising a lawyer. I just watched the Orlando Magic versus Boston Celtics game number 4. I decided that I would make a video about this game no matter what as a post-game reaction, and then I might do a recap if Orlando won, but they didn't manage to pull it off in this one, despite the fact that they got really close to doing exactly that. I think the biggest takeaway for this series, what's actually going to matter the most, is not Orlando's play itself in terms of the general main big picture of the playoffs, but rather how they defended them being replicated by other teams. Because the way that Orlando approached this, part of it was personnel, and that more than just a part. That played a very large part in it because with the 6'10 wings of Franz and Paulo, both of which are strong guys, both of which are really good defenders, both of which I'm pretty sure are at least fairly lengthy. I don't think they've got T-Rex arms by any means. So they have a lot of versatility. Wendell Carter is a really versatile big on the perimeter who's also 6'10 with a 7 foot plus wingspan. They have John Isaac who has that. Like they just have so many tall switchable wings, and Porzingis, up until this game, had actually been pretty fucking terrible in this series. He did get 5 fouls in this one, which prevented him from going off more, but he finally played good here. But that guy being primarily a mismatch hunter and a pick and pop guy, well, you're playing a center who is willing to stick to you on the perimeter. He's not so short that you can just shoot over him. And then if you get switched onto a wing, you're also not really going to be able to punish that. And the guard switches were very occasional. So just their general strategy was we have a bunch of one-on-one matchups that are really strong. We have a bunch of guys who can switch and handle other one-on-one matchups, and the main way that the Boston Celtics get their offense flowing is by the defense bringing help on drives or isolations or pick and rolls, whatever it may be. And rather than allowing them to get into that motion swing offense where the defense breaks down, they're in rotation, we have a bunch of good passers and a bunch of good shooters, so we're always going to find a good shot every single time. That wasn't what Boston was getting going in this game. It was a lot of isolation shots, a couple of dumb ones from Jaylen Brown that had no chance of going in, but luckily for the Celtics, Jason Tatum, at the very least, was actually dialed in this game. He didn't shoot the ball particularly well, 10 for 25, but he got 14 free throw attempts and he hit 3 of his 10 three-pointers. But the Celtics in general were not getting threes. They weren't getting clean looks at all. They weren't getting catch and shoots. They weren't getting any kind of opening. They put up 31 threes in this game, but I would say maybe 3 or 4 of them were actually uncontested threes, and they missed a few of the uncontested ones. Now, the problem for Orlando is that their offense just isn't good enough. Like, as much as they disturbed Boston's offensive flow, they couldn't make up for the fact that their offensive flow is pretty bad. Paulo shot 32 times in this game to get to 31 points. Franz shot 22 times to get to 24 points, and they got 6 turnovers between the two of them, 7 fouls between the two of them. It's just like they don't have enough shot creation juice to carry a completely inept offense. What they really need is someone out there who's more of a table setter. I do think Franz and Paulo are such strong playmakers that you don't necessarily need like a Trey Young or Tyrese Halliburton or LaMelo Ball type distributor, but you could really use someone else out there who will set plays up and be a really good three-point shooter. Now, of course, Jalen Suggs can do that in small part, but I'm talking about a guy doing this at a star level. On the lower end, you're getting Anthony Simons conversations and stuff like that. I'm going to hold this off because I want to do, for basically every team that gets eliminated, I'm going to be doing a what's next for this team video, and the Orlando Magic don't have any motion on YouTube, so it's probably going to be on this channel, but not going to delve into what they can do going forward. What I think is more important here, I think they did what they could. I think what was in their capacity to do was slow down Boston's offense considerably and keep the games close as a result. In game 3, they did an especially phenomenal job of that. They made them turn the ball over 21 times, but their offense was only enough to go over the threshold of what they held Boston to a singular time. So, yeah, offensive adjustments need to be made, but you have the foundations of a truly great defense. Also, I do want to give a big shout out to Corey Joseph because he was terrible in the first 2 games. I don't remember his presence in game 3 much at all. Maybe I should, but I'm blanking on it right now. But as I had called out when I talked about it, I didn't think Corey Joseph really had any business starting here. And he played pretty good. He shot 5 for 8 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3, 12 points, 6 assists, 1 steal. He got 3 fouls, but did not turn the ball over. He did a good job. He actually had a +7 in this one, which is, yeah, that's the best plus minus in the entire game. So shout out to Corey Joseph. But for Boston, what their problem was here is the iffiness of Porzingis, as I previously mentioned, Drew Holiday getting hurt, which takes a big dynamic out of their offense because rather than you having 4 guys that you're confident in being able to swing pass, catch and shoot, all that, you're down to 3. You also can't be particularly sure that Jaylen Brown is actually someone that you can rely on to be a catch and shoot option. Now, his playmaking, though it was not good in this game, has substantially improved. He averaged like almost 5 assists per game this year, last I checked. Yeah, 4.5 per game, while not even being at his career. He has been 2.7, 2.7, 2.9 the last couple of years. So he's down on turnovers while increasing his assist volume. But 4 turnovers in this one with 1 assist. That aside, his big issue is that his 3-point shot is just not very good. He's at 32.4% this year, and not including this game where he went 0 for 3. He actually has shot the ball well. However, his percentage has been, or his volume rather, his volume has been low. And that's better than him just going out there and putting up a bunch of dumb threes, which he's done in the past. But he shot 32% from 3 for their entire championship run. And Jason Tatum did basically the same thing. But I do feel like Jason Tatum is the better 3-point shooter. And he was definitely the more awake player in this one. This game, the whole series, Jason Tatum has been dialed in. And that's definitely the silver lining you can take if you're Boston. The only caveat I would add to that is that him being as good as he was still playing to what Orlando wanted him to. So I hope that the Celtics can do a little bit more to break up the monotony of their offense when they are facing really, really good one-on-one coverage, because the incentive to bring help when Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are not really going to be particularly efficient, well, that's you have no incentive anymore, and you're suddenly going to completely break the flow of your offense. So I would just say maybe do some more actual action to create open opportunities, because for the most part they were just taking the ball up the floor and Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown were going to get a shot. Porzingis got some pick and roll dunks early into this game, a couple of different opportunities. He got a lob from Al Horford as well, but for the most part, very slow paced, isolation heavy offense. They had 17 assists on 34 made field goals this year, which is, as far as I recall, definitely pretty damn low for this team. On the year, they're 16th in assists per game, averaging 26.1 for every 41 made field goals. I don't know. I'm not about to do a ratio live in my head, but 17 to 34 definitely feels worse than 26 to 41. But either way, you probably are going to see stuff like this again. I don't think a lot of teams have the personnel to really pull it off. They're facing the Knicks, and I mean, like, OG, Josh Hart, and Mikal are pretty switchable, but you don't want to allow a cat matchup in the same way you can get away with a Wendell one against one of their wings. And of course, you definitely can't allow a Jalen Brunson matchup. So I don't know. They're not really going to be the team to do it. The Cavaliers, maybe, if Mobley can truly be an excellent perimeter defender and not just a really good one who you would prefer is on the interior. I mean, you'd still prefer if he was on the interior, but like if Tatum on a Mobley switch is just completely not getting any kind of space, going to take a dumb step back three or a fadeaway mid range shot more likely than not. That really helps them. DeAndre Hunter is a good wing who's a switchable, but they have those small guards to be targeted. I just think the Orlando Magic were so lacking in players who could be targeted. Corey Joseph was your best case and wasn't even really targeted all that much. So the Magic were just a really bad matchup for the Celtics. So in terms of like my concerned meter for them based on this somewhat struggle of a series relative to the fact that it's the 2 versus 7 seed, I'm probably at like a 2. The only things that have happened in this series are things that I've already known were on the table, like Jaylen Brown struggling shooting the ball, Jason Tatum struggling shooting the ball at some points, and the pace of the Celtics offense grinding to a halt, and them having these moments where they are just completely dead set on slow paced ISO offense. Like, this is a tendency that has existed with this team for a while, and the Orlando Magic played into those tendencies as well as possible to make them play the opposite of what their game is at their best. So that would be the approach otherwise, but I don't know. I think the Thunder can do a good job of this, and that would be something that you could see applied there. But I think the Cavaliers don't quite have the personnel. The Knicks, assuming that they don't blow a 3-1 lead, I don't think they really have the personnel to pull it off. So mostly, I just want to give credit to the Magic for having the foundations of a great defense. They just got to get some offense in here. And if they do, if they get even just like a pretty good 20-point per game guard, if it's just Anthony Simons, even if it's Colin Sexton, like something like that would go a long way. And if they got an even splashier option, it would go a lot further of a way. And I think because of Franz and Paulo's age, because you're going to be getting Suggs back, you can look at this very positively and say, I think we can field a contender in the near future. This is a good foundation to build upon. And they would have been deeper into the playoffs if they had not had so many injury issues this year. Nothing that you can blame them for. They did what they could. Credit to the Magic. And as for the Celtics, I'm not worried about them. Not yet. Not yet. I will happily point it out. I was ready to dance on their grave if they lost this game, but to be honest, it's just a really bad matchup, and the Magic are not like a slouch 7th seed by any means. Of the teams that were in the Eastern Conference play-in, the Magic were the only team that had any chance of doing fucking anything against the Celtics or the Cavs. So I'm not surprised that they got a win, and I'm not surprised that they have kept these games close for the most part. But I think the Celtics will be fine. And I think the Magic will be fine. They just need more time. That's it. Anyways, that was all. Goodbye.